everybody, welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. I think I just blew everyone's ears off, James.
Possibly.
My name's Suj.
My name's James.
Let's do it. Today is our penultimate episode of the season. We'll wrap up the penultimate game week. We can talk about the 10 games that happened, but let's be honest, no one gives a shit. We recorded Tottenham yesterday. You told me that my club should make sure we don't lose. What about yours, making sure they don't lose, for fuck's sake? You're worried about Leeds catching us. Arsenal will catch you if you're not careful, mate.
Congratulations on making Thursday nights next year. Looks like I might be saving a load of fucking money.
What are you doing? You're doing Thursday afternoons next year, aren't you?
No,
is it Wednesday afternoons?
They're the same kick-off times, just an inferior competition. But I don't think we're going to finish 7th, mate, so I wouldn't worry about
9th. Just off the back of James went to the Lane yesterday to watch Spurs Villa. Obviously, it's been 2 days of quite intense football and crap FPL week. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even look at my points or think about my points.
So what have you got?
Until this morning. 43 I got, -4. So, but it just doesn't, it's just so irrelevant now because the season's shit anyway. I'm 500,000 or so and a draw on Sunday, and the season's the best season I've had in a hell of a long time, and I couldn't give a monkeys about what my FPL team does anymore.
Well, my FPL season's been shit, and so has my football team.
Yeah, it's disastrous. I mean, I heard that Daniel Levy was dishing out free food, but the players didn't need to fucking eat as much as you like buffet before the game, did they?
They played like they might have been on that
buffet. They probably did, I think, mate, to be honest with you. My cousin who went to the game yesterday as well, he messaged me, he sent me a picture of some roast potatoes and a Yorkshire pudding or something that he had. He said that was his starter.
Yeah.
Did they do like a roast dinner thing or something?
I didn't go down the south end because I was where the kind of market of the food is.
He sent me a steak slice that he was having for main course. He said he blagged his way. Is it 1882 Club or something? 1882 is it called?
Yeah. He blagged himself in there,
did he? Yeah, so he got
That's like members club
free beers, free booze. And he replied, he goes, was there a football game on? Because I missed the whole thing. I said, don't worry, mate, your boys played friendly tonight.
I had burger and chips. I had hot dog, most of my mum's chips. And to be honest, you think, I'm going to eat fucking everything. You started eating, I was like, I don't think I can eat any more here, actually. And I was going to go down the south end after the game to see if I could nick some more. But I was like, no, I need to get out of this place and get home, mate.
Oh, mate, the disappointing night for Spurs. I mean, over the 2 days, surprising results overall, especially from an FPL point of view. And also, I don't know if this is a very difficult statement to quantify because my memory's not as good as yours, but possibly 2 of the worst VAR days as well that we've had in a while, in terms of numerous decisions that people are like, what inconsistency, usual nonsense again, red card again, players being sent off or not being sent off, or penalties given or not being given. In 2 days, it felt again like everybody was like, what the VAR?
I will sum it up like this. I was in the opposite end to where Ollie Watkins was brought down yesterday by Hugo Lloris.
Yeah.
My dad is the most
Then we put this on silent.
Tinted glasses football fan you have ever seen. He's 100 yards away from the incident. He went, that's definitely a fucking penalty, isn't it? I went, to be honest, I know it's 100 yards away, but it bloody looks like it. And I saw the replay at half time. I was like, how is that not a penalty? It's just inexcusable.
Mad. And I mean, we've looked back at Cancelo again and again. There's not a moment where he looks at Welbeck. Welbeck comes from behind him. He's always got his eye on the ball. And I don't understand how that's a red.
I understand why the referee sent him off. I just think it was really harsh. But I also think, as that was the on-field decision, it probably wasn't clear enough to then overturn the decision. So I can live with that one. Bruno didn't touch the ball, did he?
No.
There is one angle, though, from the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, which would be the opposite end of where the main camera is. It does look like he flicks it.
I mean, I don't know. And then obviously we had incidents in the Chelsea game with the penalties.
Timo Werner, how was that not a penalty in the first half? It's ridiculous. Tielemans kicked him in the back of the Achilles, and Leicester got a free kick.
Obviously, there was Big Sam was not happy about the penalty that was given for us yesterday. I actually think that was a penalty. I mean,
I'm okay
Johnson
with that.
clattered him. Had he not made contact, maybe he'd have gone around him and scored. I mean, ultimately irrelevant. But even then, they checked both of our goals. And when they were checking the goals, they were like, come on, do we have to do this again? These microscopic lines and nonsense, madness. But we won't talk about VAR. Let's not worry about all that, Chaz. What did you score? 47, 48, something like that?
52.
Oh, wow.
Actually, which
nice.
was... it's mediocre, isn't it? Let's be honest. Saved by the 2 West Ham boys in the last minute, actually.
Jubbly.
That Lingard...
Second to last minute, I'll say.
Lingard to Antonio was worth 12 points for those who own both. So, have you got either of them?
Lingard.
You got Lingard. 12 points for a goal.
I did captain Antonio in Sky, though.
Nice.
Yeah,
well done.
22.
I had a good Sky night as well.
22 points. I scored 41
I really wish I'd had the good Sky night on Tuesday rather than when we did the podcast for it yesterday rather than last night. Up to 38th in Sky, so it's a bit of a jump last night.
Oh, that's decent.
And that was with a captain foul, of course, was Harry Kane. My captain failed in FPL as well, like many people. Mohamed Salah was my choice. Many would have gone Harry Kane. Many would have gone Bruno. I wouldn't call Bruno a fail at 4 points, but I think at home to Fulham, that's not the sort of return that you're looking for. So that's why average is pretty low this week, because most people have obviously missed on captaincy. I got a goalkeeper on a pitch this week.
Yay, and you almost didn't, because you almost bought Fabianski.
Can you believe this? I mean,
all I thought about when Flappy when didn't start was you.
We should talk about that, right? So Dean Henderson wasn't in the Manchester United team, which I guess people might have had hanging over from double game week 35. And I'd said before that week, I'm really concerned that De Gea will play against Fulham. We had Casilla, who's fucking rubbish, come in goal for Leeds, but kept a clean sheet. We had Fabianski pull out in the build-up. Patricio left out for Wolves last night. I think Dubravka might have picked up an injury for Newcastle last night.
Yeah.
We were really scraping the barrel
Peacock
on
Farrell
goalkeepers.
didn't play. Pope and Peacock Farrell didn't play. You're down to Will Norris, who's making his he played for Wolves in the Premier League, I think.
He was third choice at Wolves last year, yeah.
But he has played in the Premier League, but you're talking about 2 games or
Don't
something.
say a lot for Peacock Farrell that Norris was picked.
Well, he conceded 4 at the weekend, so you can understand.
But that's why I didn't take a -4 for a goalkeeper, because my options were Mendy, which would have been a 1-pointer as well. And my feeling on it, as you knew, was if Chelsea clinched Champions League, i.e. if Liverpool fucked it up last night, then there was a chance Kepa would play at Villa. Mm-hmm. And the other two I was considering was Mendy, didn't play. Fabianski didn't play. So I'm delighted with my Gator 1-pointer, because it could have easily just been... I could have been 5 points worse off if I bought a goalkeeper this week. Trent, 6-pointer. Rudiger, 9-pointer. Dallas, 5-pointer. So returns across the back line helpful. And Lingard, Antonio. That's my week.
I had Trent and Dallas at the back, 6 and 5 respectively. Bruno, captain, made it an 8-pointer. Jesse Lingard with 7 and Mane with 6. Other than that, I was blanks all the way around as well. Wasn't good. There was no big returns. Your 5s and 6s. You need a player to get at least close to double digits, like Rudiger or whatever.
Well, from those that might have been popular that possibly would have taken people away, I mean, I had one of them, Rudiger. Bamford would have potentially been popular, 12-pointer. Nicolas Pepe might be someone that people might want to consider for the weekend. Andrew Robertson, Nat Phillips would be the Liverpool guys. And Joe Willock, I think Adam at 352. Our Arsenal correspondent captains Arsenal lonely Joe Willock, who's now scored in 6 consecutive games for Newcastle.
We'll talk about them when we talk about the game. I mean, I didn't watch your game, but I was listening on the radio, and as soon as the final whistle went, obviously you could hear the boos ringing around your place. But
they were ringing out long before the final whistle, mate.
But there's boos ringing around at Newcastle, and I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like, well, come on, fans, what do you want? Because he's matched Rafa's record of 45 points and could exceed it. They could finish as high as 12th or 13th in the league. They've got good attacking players now in Wilson, St. Maximin when they're fit. Willock's come in now, if they can try and get that deal permanent or what have you. They're making progress. So why drag it back down again with booing?
I have to say,
after a victory.
I didn't see or hear any Newcastle booing yesterday. I'm not saying
Okay,
it didn't happen.
I didn't.
I've only seen the
I
highlights.
was on the radio. They were talking about it. They were talking about why the fans were booing Steve Bruce. It was specifically aimed at Steve Bruce as opposed to the players.
Well, some of them won't be changed on him. I think that's very clear.
I get
You've probably got that now sort of culturally, say like Tottenham fans had it with Mourinho. There'll be some Arsenal fans who feel that way about Arteta now. It just won't be changed. It's set in their mind now. And I think Newcastle fans are intelligent to know the changing fortunes of the last couple of months is not specifically down to Steve Bruce. It's because of Graham Jones
Yeah,
more
yeah,
likely.
we get that.
So,
We get that.
but then they could appoint a new manager and Graham Jones might leave and it might be worse.
Yeah.
That's part of the point. But
Yeah,
I mean, Newcastle,
you've seen it. Mourinho left,
Newcastle
it's worse.
fans, FPL footballers coming on COTC tomorrow. Newcastle fans obviously been unhappy for a very long time. At Tottenham, the booing, I mean, what do fans want? A little bit better than that for 60 quid. Thank you very much.
I mean, there was so much that I could have tweeted about that game, but it just felt like almost sympathy with, they're taking your money, great. You'd have rather had a ticket for half the price and sod the free food, but at least the performance from the team, potentially Harry's last game at the Lane, it just felt a letdown, a real letdown. But from a West Ham point of view, yesterday was the perfect rack of results because Liverpool winning means that Leicester have to beat you now. So Leicester will go for it at the weekend, and we won, you lost. So
pretty sure we won't win at Leicester on Sunday. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. So I mean, as long as we don't lose,
we're
good now. So all you can ask for
you're
is
guaranteed European football.
Yeah,
because we're the only team that could catch you in theory.
The question just is, all you ask for is to be in control of it yourself.
Well, can Everton catch you? What's the goal difference?
No, their goal difference is garbage. I don't think they can.
What if they beat like Man City 6-0 or something? No.
Well, you never know. That might happen. Everton have obviously got a difficult game.
No, it's 8 goals difference. They're not going to catch you.
No, they won't.
Unless Southampton win 9-0.
No. Nice to see fans back in the stadiums though, and a sizable number in terms of 10,000, not just a couple of.
I thought. I mean, the only game that I watched uninterrupted, other than obviously I was at Tottenham yesterday, was Chelsea game Tuesday night. I thought the atmosphere. To be fair, when Chelsea played at home to Leeds in November, December, whenever it was, the atmosphere came through there at Stamford Bridge. And it really, I mean, it was obviously a massive game. It felt like a huge game watching it. I think off the back of the FA Cup final as well, it was nice to have 2 intense games like that had the fan involvement. The atmosphere looks really good at Stamford Bridge on Tuesday. It just makes such a difference.
Yeah.
I've not been listening with a fake crowd noise or anything like that. I can't deal with it.
No, me neither. I don't like it at all.
I can't be having the ball fly into the crowd and then someone going, ooh, about 3 seconds later.
Nah.
I don't need that in my life.
No.
At Tottenham yesterday, what did you notice at Tottenham different from all the other 9 teams that had home fans this week?
You were in amongst the clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
So you couldn't get too close to Daniel Levy or chuck shit on the pitch or...
Well, it was all above him so we could throw shit at him.
Advertising hoarding so everyone can see the banners.
Advertising. It's got to be, isn't it?
But do you mean the tarpaulin on the seats?
Yeah.
But most of that's all club-related stuff, isn't it? Or was there quite a bit of commercial stuff?
A bit of both. Certainly the ones on the home end. So on the home end, it was only kind of from halfway up was where people were seated. They had loads of advertising there, Cadbury and all sorts, and money. It's all money, isn't it?
I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't seem right to put you in the upper tier.
And that's why the atmosphere was pony.
Yeah.
I mean, I if I'd have had the choice, I would have gone higher because you know me, I like a higher tactical perspective of the game and stuff. So I would have still done that. But for the atmosphere of football, we don't want people up in the gods.
No, you need them close.
That's why years ago the Premier League introduced years ago that other than at Newcastle, because it's a safety issue, away fans have to be somewhere around the perimeter of the pitch, right?
Right.
Except at Tottenham as a home game, we can't even get to the fucking perimeter of the pitch. A little bit of a joke. So that didn't help the atmosphere either. So those watching on the TV must have been like, are fans even there?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how that came across and stuff, but yeah, it was a piss poor day from Tottenham from start to finish.
Shame. Let's talk about some of these games, rattle through them, and try and put in the context of what's happening at the weekend.
We shall. I'm not gonna give a lot of tactical stuff on these because I haven't watched the games. So.
Yeah. There's just not a lot of point. Manchester United won, Fulham won. I mean that clean sheet wipe, a double defence from Man United.
Did you?
Yeah,
you got Shaw and Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, and double clean sheet wipeout was a disappointment. And then United didn't go on to win. But what Fulham are done for the season. They're still putting up a bit of a fight. Credit to them. But do you think United, we're looking at mass rotation at the weekend?
Yes.
And that's it. They're done and dusted.
Yeah.
So top 4 is safe.
Fairly convinced on that they'll mass rotate. I don't think I don't think anybody. I'd find it unlikely that anybody's going to start the Europa League finals going to play that game. I just can't see the risk, particularly even if you consider they reckon Maguire's not going to make it, don't they? So if he wants to go Bailly and Lindelof, he can't be risking them at Wolves. Or is he going to play Twanzebe? Whatever he decides to go with, I can't think they're going to play at Wolves. Same, I think, applies to Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, I think maybe because he's not an injury-prone player and his fitness is very good, might play. Greenwood, I guess, would be the other one who you'd think has got a shot because we saw that during the triple game week. Marcus Rashford didn't start on Tuesday. Does that mean he gets a run out on Sunday? I tend to think not because he's carrying ongoing injury issues.
Yeah,
I think
maybe give him a bit.
there's
of
another
rest.
player they don't want to take a risk with. I mean, you look at United's bench on Tuesday. If you kind of replace, let's say he's going to go Twanzebe in the final. Bailly, Telles, Brandon Williams, Rashford, Matic, Van der Beek, Mata, Diallo can play all these guys. Kind of, it could be a similar team to what played Leicester, I think.
Yeah, I've got double Leicester and triple Man United. And originally we were coming off Leicester last week. I came off Maddison, but the United boys are the ones that are on the chopping block for me. Because going into this week, Liverpool I've got double in Mane and Trent. They've got something to play for. Yep. Leicester I've got double. They've got something to play for. Harry Kane, he's got something to play for, the Golden Boot as well. Leeds I've got double. They always play the same way anyway. Yep. So really, and Jesse Lingard's got something to play for. So really, it's the United guys that don't have anything to play for, the ones that I can.
So what have you got?
on.
Fernandes, Shaw,
Bruno,
Wan-Bissaka,
and Shaw. Bruno's probably the one I'll get rid of.
Who's your other defenders?
I've got Dallas, Trent, Castagne.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, as a back three,
it's fine.
You'd be fucking unlucky if none of them played.
Yeah, exactly.
Really unlucky. You could possibly make a case, depending on what you're doing with Bruno and what the rest of your team is. Because you got like people like Vidra still.
Vidra on the bench as well.
He didn't play for Burnley last night, did he?
No.
He probably does come back in for Sheffield United. I know Jack at Turfy Topper was tweeting after the game saying they're not as good when Vidra doesn't play, basically, in terms of their attacking threat. But I think I'd be tempted to look at like Robertson or something.
Yeah,
if
I do a Bruno to Antonio, let's say, that gives me a lot of money.
How are you doing that?
He's a midfield. Oh,
he's a forward, mate.
Now, isn't he? Fuck, I'm thinking Sky.
You are.
My Sky head.
The Sky team that you never think about.
That's true. But even a Bruno to anywhere is going to give me money to turn one of the others into Robertson. So, yeah, I don't mind that. And Robbo popped up with his assists yesterday after a little while.
It's the final day. Don't go scrapping it. Take a -4, mate. I think.
I mean, what's the worst they're going to
Who's your worst player
80?
that you've currently got for the weekend?
Vidra.
You'd want to play him at Sheffield United, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't think I'll move Vidra on. He'll be on the bench.
Who's your other forwards?
Iheanacho.
Yeah,
and Harry Kane.
I'll tell you what, Iheanacho's a decent captaincy shout for the week. I know everyone's going to go Salah most likely, but I'll tell you what, you want to punt differential from a captaincy perspective of the weekend. I'd fancy Iheanacho against us, mate.
So United, you're happy with people coming off United, no problems there?
Yeah, the only ones I could think, as I said, Wan-Bissaka maybe. Difficult to say who'll play in goal. No one's got De Gea. Some people might have Henderson. Greenwood possibly. Rashford possibly. And I probably imagine... I wouldn't be stunned if Bruno started. But I don't think... I can't see the point in it.
No, just rhythm more than anything else. What is it, Wednesday?
But it's not like it's Tuesday to Wednesday. It's obviously played against Fulham. It's an 8-day break, and he should have got some returns. To be honest, Bruno and Salah both should have got some returns during this game week on top of the little they did get. I just can't see why they'd risk Bruno on Sunday. Definite not captaincy. I think it's quite an easy sell personally. Especially if you're not going to catch him, his effective ownership will still be massive. Most people won't sell him, I don't think. I'd get rid.
Yeah, he's top of my list to go, mate, to be honest with you.
Are you thinking?
I haven't decided yet.
All right, we'll see if we can come up with someone who's interested in Fulham. I'm not going to cover now. We'll talk about with Dara's coming on Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow. But cheeky last day punt might be this young boy, Fabio Carvalho. He is English, by the way. Young boy scored at Southampton at the weekend and should have scored at Old Trafford on Tuesday night as well. As 4.5 million midfielder. Someone's looking for a punt for the final day. Don't mind it, but I don't think you're going to be looking at Fulham's a much changed team again. You see the likes of United must be disappointed seeing the likes of Tim Ream play, and United haven't beat them.
Yeah. Southampton 0 Leeds 2. Southampton had a little rally, a couple of wins, and then Leeds just gave them another slap. Their season's done now. I'm really hoping they'll just roll over on Sunday because it's just there's no way up, no way down, nothing.
What a goal by Cavani, just finally.
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't forgot about it, but what a finish. I feel like it's one of the more difficult games you could have from that perspective. In terms of playing teams who've got on the beach, if you will, nothing to play for. I feel like Southampton might be one of the toughest ones for you. 5-day break before. They're another one who generally play the same way. They're not going to go and put 10 men behind the ball against you and that kind of... They'll come and give you a football match. So it might be goals in the game. I think it might be quite open. I wouldn't actually be that surprised if they came away with a 2-2 or something like that, for example. Particularly as that result would... I mean,
give it to me now.
Exactly. You'd take it, wouldn't you?
Give it to me now.
Yeah, it just does the job for you. You'd accept that. So I think it's a difficult game. Danny Ings. You've got Danny Ings, haven't you? Or did you just have him on the free hit
I just
last
had him on
week?
free hit last week. Not for me.
I thought it was such a good buy for people in game week 36. I couldn't believe it wasn't. Having got taken off early, I couldn't believe that he wasn't in the starting lineup for the game. But Southampton played really well in the first half. Casilla actually made a decent save or two. They missed their chances, and then Leeds had all the chances the second half, and they took a couple of them. That was another VAR one with Bamford staying on his feet, wasn't it?
Yeah. Bamford's a good shout for this week. Vidra to Bamford. I mean, West Brom played well against us yesterday, but they're not good. I think Leeds, with their energy, because we didn't play with the high energy that we have in certain games, but Leeds, if they attack it with their high energy, I think they're going to batter West Brom at the weekend, I'm afraid. So Patrick Bamford for me is a really good shout, again, if you don't already own him.
I think we'd have to say Leeds are potentially the highest scorers this weekend, is a possibility, especially off we'll talk about it in a bit, the Sam Allardyce news from last night. It could be that they're on down tools mode. What Leeds players you got?
Just Dallas, just Dallas. Sorry,
just
I bought Rafinha
Dallas
last week as well,
and
so,
Rafinha.
yeah.
So this is an interesting point. I think it would be fair to say with Dallas and Rafinha,
it's enough.
It's enough, yeah, and that's probably the only two I'm probably going to have as well. But for you looking to sell Bruno, do you consider Harrison, or is it psychological because you're like, I'm putting 6 million in the bank? I wonder if that plays on people's mind, because I imagine, if I give you an example here, you got Bruno at 11 point whatever he is, you sell him, you pick Harrison, you've got 6 million in the bank, and you think, I'm desperate to spend it, and then you look at the forwards and you think, especially if Aguero's not available at the weekend, which seems to be everyone's dream punt, where are you going to spend the money? And I wonder if, given the choice, people will go for someone more like Pepe, or Dele Alli's a bad example, but someone at a higher price, just because psychologically they don't want to be going into the final day popping £6 million in the bank. But Harrison's got to be one of the best options, isn't he?
Yeah, he's decent. He's a decent shout for sure.
Rafinha was the standout of the two in this particular game. Rafinha should have hauled. It's the usual story with him.
Same again.
The usual story. I think the knock-on of Bamford obviously getting the 90 minutes might have had a little bit to do with Click's been released early to go and join up with the Polish squad, which means Rodrigo played in a deeper role than what we see him come on against Burnley.
Cox's gone as well, isn't he?
Yes, that's correct. So I think it's probably similar lineup what will play against West Brom at the weekend. I think if West Brom don't treat the game seriously, Leeds could be getting a few goals, definitely. Bamford I won't rule out, because my likely transfer for the weekend is probably moving Calvert-Lewin on. But I actually think I'm more likely to buy Iheanacho than Bamford.
Right.
But that's because of what I fucking watched last night, I think. I wouldn't put anybody else off it. And for those obviously held on to Bamford, well done. It was obviously the right call. Southampton, I don't think you'd be buying any of theirs for the West Ham game, would you? No. But at least they've recovered a little bit, playing a bit better than the last few games. They could have actually won this game if they'd have started better. I could have had the 4-4, mate.
Less of that. Brighton 3, Man City 2. I mean, Brighton didn't want to win this, did they? The way that Trossard fucking dilly-dallied to put the ball in the back of the net, and even Burn at the end with the winner. He did everything he could not to score. But then thought, sod it, I'll leave the ball
Dan
in the
Burns'
back
goal was so iconic. If you'd imagine Dan Burns scoring a Premier League goal
in the penalty area, it's not a header.
Not a header. Yeah. This is what you would have imagined it to be. Yeah, absolutely loved it.
I'm glad for Brighton fans and that to see that game at home and to come back from 2 down to beat City and all the rest of the things that go with it. Credit to them. It just feels like they got a result that they they had been playing for all season. It finally actually came in, but it's done now. It's a little bit late, but oh well.
What they did really well late in the second half was the two wing backs played extremely high, which meant that the centre backs, Dan Burn played left-sided centre back, could get really high and do what kind of result. Very rare you see a team manage to get overloads on Manchester City and dominate, and that's what happened. Brighton had 62% possession, 71% possession in the second half against Manchester City. Now, of course, they had 10 men, I get that, but we saw Manchester City play when they played at Aston Villa a few weeks back, and I think they had the majority. They had 10 men. They had a player sent off quite early, didn't they? In the period they had 10 men on the pitch against Villa, I think they still had more of the ball. That's the point. So it's still very impressive what Brighton have done there. It was obviously, again, a bit of a rotated Manchester City team, and I think psychologically you don't need that intensity of game with a man short for near enough a whole game with a Champions League final less than 2 weeks away. So I don't think we should be overly surprised that City lost. Ferran Torres was the man who was obviously hooked early due to the Cancelo red card. Would you consider any City players for the weekend?
Just not pissing about with the rotation, mate. I just don't want to deal with the rotation.
Fernandes to Riyad Mahrez or Phil Foden if they start, it's fine, isn't it?
Sure. You're going to give me any kind of guarantee that they're going to play?
I can't.
No.
Not close.
I'm not even going close. I'm more likely to buy a Chelsea player than I am a City player, which is a segue into Chelsea 2, Leicester 1.
Just before we do
it.
Aguero. I know a lot of people want to buy him this week. Honestly, I wouldn't.
It just doesn't seem right. Even the games he's played, mate.
I can see it now that he plays and he scores and everyone will be captain hindsight. Yeah, James, we told you. I really, really don't think that's what you should do with your last transfer for the season. I know a lot of people have been lining this up. I can see, even though Kane's potentially on for the golden boot, I can see people moving Kane to Aguero this weekend. That's the premeditated plan they had in their mind. I wouldn't.
No.
I really, really wouldn't. And just on Brighton, Danny Welbeck picked up an injury towards the end of the game, which leaves them really short forwards for the Arsenal game at the weekend. So Arsenal defensive might be good for a clean sheet on Sunday. It's obviously a game that Arsenal, if they win, can finish above Tottenham, so they'll be well up for the game. Trossard will probably play, I think, on his own OOP up front. They'll probably play like Trossard and McAllister as kind of a little bit how City have been setting up. Although City would normally do it in a back four, they'll drop off the front. It might give them some domination in the game, but I think Arsenal could be good for a clean sheet on Sunday. Okay,
interesting for anyone looking there defensively. Chelsea 2, Leicester 1. Chelsea have been really good since Tuchel's come in, bar a couple of slip-ups like West Brom and what have you. But Champions League final. So we're talking about United rotating. We're talking about City rotating. Surely Chelsea will rotate as well.
Chelsea go full strength Sunday.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they've got to. They've got to win.
They're not safe. Sorry, I'm just check the table.
No. If Chelsea don't win, they're potentially fucked. So Chelsea on 67 points. Leicester and Liverpool both on 66. So they're only a point behind. Leicester's goal difference is plus 20. Chelsea's is plus 23. Liverpool's is better than Chelsea. So if Chelsea lost and Liverpool drew, for example, I guess goal difference won't come into that because Chelsea would have, unless Chelsea lost heavily at Leicester, at Villa, and Leicester drew, goal difference won't come into it. But they could draw. If Liverpool and Leicester win, Chelsea are fifth.
I'm going to buy Kai Havertz for Bruno Fernandes, I reckon. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are I don't know if he's going to play. And the reason I say that is going back to Tuchel's comments against Arsenal after the game, where he said too many changes and all that, didn't he? Mm. And then Havertz didn't start Tuesday night and didn't start the cup final.
Yeah, I tell you why I want to do it, because I own Havertz first game week of the season. Over the season, he didn't do enough for me, so I want to just get him back as a bit of nostalgia. If there's any inkling that Havertz might play, I might go Havertz, let's have a look. Let's see. Chelsea still have something to play for. They've got midfield options galore there.
I think if you were going to punt it, I'd punt Pulisic over Havertz. Because I just feel there's a little bit of momentum in Pulisic's play. Could have very well returned on Tuesday. And Chelsea well deserved to win, by the way. I think you just look at that and say, Tuchel said he made too many changes. The two games he's played since, he's not picked Havertz. He's gone with Pulisic, Mount, and Werner. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'd probably expect it to be again.
Leicester, obviously, we expect them to probably beat Spurs, but are you thinking, who do you own from Leicester now? Have you got rid of all of them?
No, I've got Fofana.
Right, okay. So defensively, you'll play him?
I'm not. I've got Dallas, Rudiger. I fancy Rudiger more for the clean sheet more than
Fofana.
Yeah,
I'm with you on
with
that.
Kane. You're always capable of scoring goals.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's why I think Leicester attacking is more interesting. With
yeah,
Vardy and Iheanacho and Maddison.
Also, it's kind of proven on Tuesday night, Rudiger's the better threat than Fofana on set pieces and stuff as well. So, I mean, but I am strongly considering Brian Iheanacho. I think it's a talk. If it's Alderweireld and Dyer, Iheanacho will murder them, mate. Not joking. He'll fucking murder them. And he doesn't, where kind of Watkins overdid a few things yesterday. So Iheanacho, just see the post and just shoot, mate.
Yeah.
I think Iheanacho is an absolutely super prospect for people this weekend. If I didn't have Salah, I'd probably captain Trent. But if I didn't have Trent, I think I'd go Iheanacho. I think Trent's a great punt for captaincy at the weekend in terms of how big it could be. But Iheanacho, I think that would be my tip for a forward to buy it this weekend. They've got something to play for. They're going to go for it and know the need to win. I'd get him.
And he's in form.
And he's still in form. He obviously didn't.
Cup final was there, but other than that, he's been on form.
He didn't start the game at Chelsea on Tuesday night. Came on and scored, and it looked infinitely better as soon as he came on. I'd be amazed if he didn't start on Sunday. I think it was a tactical setup. Basically, in the cup final, Iheanacho played basically on the right hand side and had responsibility, and Jamie Vardy played more like what we've been familiar with Jamie Vardy over the last few years of playing up front right on his own. I think against Tottenham, they go back to Iheanacho and Vardy together, and I'd fancy Iheanacho.
Everton 1, Wolves 1. Are you Wolves 0? Sorry.
Obviously, Wolves 0.
Yeah. Are you planning on any moves towards either of these two clubs, or
you're not going to make a case to buy Everton players before Man City away? It's interesting they've now won 6 home games this season, half of them in front of fans.
Wow.
Wolves have now failed to score in, I think I saw Bradley Parker tweeted, 29 first halves this season.
And they failed in the second half of this game as well, didn't they?
And like the weekend as well. Anything good in the game again came from Traore, a little bit like Sunday. He had one brilliant run in the second half, and I saw a few Everton fans tweeting saying, Jesus, when he runs, like, just they couldn't live with him. But you have to hope, as I said on Monday's pod, you have to hope his final decision making is bad. Good news on Raul Jimenez. He said it looks like he's going to be able to return to complete contact training in July. There were some rumours that went round on Tuesday that he might have been in the squad last night, but I think it's prudent that they've waited. Why force him in for these games? We said that a few weeks ago. So when they return for pre-season, he's ready to go. So an interesting possible option for the new season. And obviously, if he's the Raul Jimenez that we hope it will be of Raul Jimenez, that's going to put Wolves in a much better place for next season. But they are one of a number of squads, Wolves, that need mass overhauling here. Great headed goal from Richarlison. His first goal in about 10, I think. But it was a brilliant headed goal. And Everton were better after the goal.
Gylfi's getting a lot of grief. People going for Aguero for nostalgia. He's only played just over 2,000 minutes and he's got 123 FPL points. Now, it's not bad. If he'd played the entire season, you'd be looking at close to 200 points off Gylfi.
Yeah, but he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. I get that. But it was not through injury. At the start of the season, a lot of it was tactical that he wasn't getting into the team. But he's come back reasonably strong. I think at the start of the season, or in the first quarter of the season, we might have said this is his Everton career kind of fading into a bit of bench fodder and nothingness. But he's been all right.
He has been all right, but I would say to you that it still is. I mean, 2 of his goals were against Tottenham, right? So write that 15-pointer off straight away, right? That's 33% of his goals this season were against Spurs, inevitably. You wouldn't buy him for the weekend. I think Ancelotti knows what he wants to do with the squad this summer, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it, because I just think buying players is obviously going to be very difficult for a number of people this summer. But I think I can feel frustration with Everton fans because of the home form towards Ancelotti. Stick with him at the moment would definitely be my advice. Yes. Stay on side. That manager knows what he's doing. as I said to you previously, I would not be surprised to wake up any day and find out that Nuno is no longer Wolves manager.
Newcastle 1, Sheffield United 0. Two teams that we're not looking at all either. I mean, I don't actually mind St. Maximin or even Willock as a punt, but they don't feel like the most exciting out there punts you could have on the last day of the season. If this was kind of 4 or 5 weeks to go or something, I think, you know what, yeah, fine. But if your last transfer in FPL of the season is buying Joe Willock, just doesn't have that kind of...
I have no problem with anyone wanting to buy Joe Willock.
Me neither, but it just doesn't have that excitement that goes with it. You know, when you press confirm transfer, I just bought Joe Willock for £4.5 million.
I disagree with that,
at
right?
Newcastle.
You buy... How brilliant is it to buy? We know this because we experienced this with Suchek this summer, right? Or this season, in terms of how long we stuck with him. And the pride in terms of sticking with a budget midfielder and him actually doing good things for you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You want to buy a 4.8 million midfielder for the final day and he's going to score for you. And he scored in the last 6. I don't think any Newcastle players ever got 7, I don't think, actually. He'd be on for Jamie Vardy's record come September. Then that's brilliant. Yeah, I think it's absolutely fine. I mean,
the fixtures there for Newcastle. I mean, Fulham,
decent game as well. Fulham have opened up a little bit more in the last couple of games. United should have got more than one on Tuesday night. I don't mind anybody buying Willock, and I would buy Willock over St. Maximin. Willock's got 11 less FPL points than St. Maximin.
St. Maximin's had so many injury problems this year.
Admittedly, Willock's got some minutes with Arsenal there as well. I get that, but. I mean, it kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Almiron, it feels like, has played the majority of games, 94 FPL points this season. Joe Linton inevitably flops, has now got a yellow flag as well. That might harm them a little bit, actually, if they don't have a natural centre forward to play at the weekend. But I imagine you want to take punts, possibly. Dwight Gale could well start at the weekend. He knows how to finish in front of goal.
He does, you're right.
I don't think that's where you'd go, though. I mean, is that more? That's a little bit cheaper than Iheanacho. I can't.
No.
I can't make the case for that personally. So Newcastle you'd overlook. Sheffield United steam into Jebison, McGoldrick for the weekend. If Nick Pope's not back for Burnley, there are worse things you can do. Actually, McGoldrick. I've only seen the highlights, but McGoldrick had a good few efforts and should have returned in this game. He wouldn't. It's another one I think. A little bit like Willock, you can say, I'm going to buy a Sheffield United forward game week 38. And the chances are, come 6 o'clock, you'll go, what the fuck was I doing with my last transfer? But if it comes good, you'll enjoy it. And I think you should be a bit punty final day as well.
Spurs 1, Villa 2. We don't need the full tactical blow, but...
How long have you got?
Exactly. I mean, disappointment from Spurs' point of view. I still think if people don't own Kane or Son in the final day, when you've got to win, you're going to have to go for it. Villa, I'm not looking at, to be honest with you, for the final day.
I'm not sure. We don't have to go for it, by the way. We're in 7th. If you're already ahead against Southampton, the players know that. It's nothing. We only have to go for it if Arsenal or Everton are winning.
Yeah.
Which I expect Arsenal definitely to win on Sunday. But in terms of go for it, I'm not sure that these players can, mate.
Do you think... Would you look at any assets from Spurs?
For this weekend?
Yeah.
The fuck no.
All right, that's a perfect answer.
No.
Villa worth going back in for at all?
No, again, I don't think so, because they're playing Chelsea.
Difficult game.
Grealish played at 10 and started slowly. Tottenham, we played very well for the first 15 minutes, actually, and deserved to go ahead, which is kind of what adds to the frustration. Reguilon's own goal's got to be own goal of the season, hasn't it? I can't think of a better one. I laughed. I'm not going to lie, I laughed. I went, what a finish.
I listened to Expressions after the game. Have you heard his one?
No.
He's like, bruv is trying to get a commercial deal with Domino's or Pizza Hut, because that was a slice and a half. Because that man needs to pick up playing golf with Gareth Bale if he's slicing it like that.
you know when people overdo it and say, if you tried it, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, try this and you could not do it. It'd be impossible.
Oh,
what a finish. Buried it, didn't he? He had a shocker. He was at fault for the second goal as well. So too was Eric Dyer. Defensively, pony. Villa were good, right? Good energy. I like Nakamba's performance.
Okay.
there's a few games he's played recently for Villa and they've looked a little bit better defensively. Do you know what? He goes through games and you don't notice he's there. I think it allows McGinn more energy to drive on from midfield. Once Grealish got into the game, Villa were a better side. Watkins could have had a fucking hatful, mate.
And there's a couple of kids that are young enough to be my kids coming onto the pitch as well. One hit the post at the end, I saw as well.
Mika, I think his name is. I've seen.
Lively?
To be honest, he wasn't on the pitch long enough, but I'm aware of the player because Adam Hopcroft told us about him when he was on COTC a few weeks back. Said he was doing brilliant bits for the youth team and that he'll be in and around the first team squad next year, basically. So he looks a super talent. Have a look for some of his goals on YouTube. He scored against Newcastle in the Youth Cup, I think, quarter final. He really does look. He's got a little bit of. To be honest, he's got a little bit of Grealish about him. Nice. A bit of a Grealish Eze kind of style about him. Good player.
Good.
No, don't buy him Villa. If you haven't got Kane, you know what I was thinking about then? Do you know that stupid song those Spurs fans do in the park?
Yeah. You just got Kane. You just got Kane.
Something in the way I said it made me think about it. What a fucking disaster. If you haven't got Kane, that's what it was. I wouldn't be buying him. No. Honestly, nah. We're playing one of the best teams in the country, a team that's definitely better than us. Yes, there's a chance we'll need to win. Yes, he's going for the golden boot.
Johnny Evans is out, is he? Or we don't know?
I would have thought so. The news would suggest that he was going to be out, yeah. But I think we'll have massive problems with Leicester's three at the back, actually. Expect, if it's Castagno and Albrighton, I still don't know what's going on with Pereira. I find it bizarre. I think there's a chance Pereira might come back in. I can see it being Albrighton and Pereira, actually. Having said that, Luke Thomas, I'm pretty sure he definitely played at our place in June. It might have been his debut.
Good player,
played really well.
Thomas,
he's a good talent, yeah. I think Pereira might come back in. You wouldn't consider them, definitely not. But I think their system will give us some problems. I expect them to go back to Iheanacho and Vardy up front with Maddison in the hole behind Tielemans and Diddy. Way too much for us, I should imagine, mate.
Yeah.
Way too much. Sonny was piss poor yesterday. And I would... And the only reason I could say... I've got him. The only reason I could say to keep him is that I'm not sure that there's anything I really want to take -4 for.
Yeah.
I'm just going to live with him for fun. He honestly was absolutely terrible. Sometimes he has games like that where he goes up against a physical opponent and I just feel like he doesn't fancy it. We obviously highlighted Son versus El Mohammadi. Villa played Concert at right back, which was a little bit awkward because they had Courtney Halls, who's left-footed, play right-sided centre-back. But defensively, they were pretty decent, actually. It was better than certainly what they were at Selhurst Park. And that's another reason why I think Pereira might play, because of that physicality on that side, possibly. Sonny has games like that sometimes where I just think he doesn't like the physical battle. Tottenham, just to cover it, because not everyone's a patron, Tottenham should sell Kane and Son. That's the conclusion I've come to at the end of that game yesterday, is that actually the fucking rest of them are so bad. The only way to vote, you've got to spend the money. And the only way to spend the money, you can have two best forwards in the world. If the other 9 are shit, don't really matter. Go and get me 8 or 9 good players rather than 2 great players.
Correct. Crystal Palace won, Arsenal 3. Arsenal doing bits now that they've got nothing to play for. But I feel like their fans do have something to play for, because if they can catch you, it does mean quite a bit.
Oh, they'll fucking have an open-top bus parade.
Yeah, and quite rightly, considering how crap their season
quite
has
rightly
been. Yeah, I think so. You've got to celebrate. I don't think you've got to celebrate with an open top bus tour, but it's definitely something that you could enjoy for a few hours.
Really? Let me tell you now, if I see any Tottenham fans, if we finish above Arsenal, if I see any Tottenham fans tweeting on Sunday about finishing above Arsenal, prepare to be unfollowed.
But there's a difference between enjoying it and OTT celebrate. I'm with you, because it's not an achievement in the sense that you've got to look at it in the context of everything, right? Like, they've had such a bad season, and then on the last day to get into Europe ahead of you, and you don't have European football. This conference is called.
This is what Tottenham and Arsenal fans will be celebrating on Sunday.
Yeah,
playing UEFA Europa League conference. Behave. Don't be celebrating anything. Whoever does it. In a way, I kind of
finishing above you for them.
Do you know what would be really fucking poetic?
Is is something that will put a smile on the face of Arsenal fans.
What would be really fucking poetic?
Equal points and everything.
They both fuck it up and Everton win at Man City. What would be really poetic. That would sum up the season for Arsenal and Tottenham, who have both been dreadful and are both in big trouble.
Any thoughts on any assets from either of these two?
Palace, no, but Benteke's been on us. Was it 5 in a row he scored in now?
Yeah, he's on a roll.
Again, look, I don't think you suddenly
4 in a row.
I don't think you suddenly go, oh my God, he scored in 4 in a row. I'm going to buy him away to Liverpool. Again, that's not what you really want to be doing with your final transfer, I don't think. So Palace, no. Shout out for Roy Hodgson, by the way.
Respect.
Brilliant career. And I think actually you reflect on it and go, he's kept Palace completely out of trouble in his spell there. I know it's not what Palace fans really want. They want a little bit more, but expectations aren't always easy to fulfill, and he's completely kept Palace out of trouble. I don't think when he took over, they were in a relegation zone. It was after Frank de Boer and that, wasn't it? I don't think they've had since they got out of it after that, I don't think they've had a single day in a relegation zone while he's been in charge.
That's incredible.
So I know, again, as I said, it's not really what Palace fans want, but it's going to be a big period for them. We've got so many players out of contract. It could go wrong this summer if they make the wrong appointment and invest in the wrong players. I haven't heard the confirmation, but it was a rumour yesterday that he's done his Achilles. And he might be out till the autumn, so probably miss the start next season. If that's been confirmed, I've missed it, but I did hear that rumour yesterday. Arsenal, well, Pepe might be an interesting one, no, Suj?
7 point something. 7-6, I think he is now.
Again, it's one of them. He's the sort of player who I think I would not want in my team, but I would also feel better knowing that he won't be in it for game week 39 because there isn't one. At the moment, he's showing a little bit of form, is he not?
Yeah, he's not doing too badly.
I say a little bit of form. 1 goal against West Brom in game week 35. His previous goal was at Leicester in game week 26. But I feel like his performances have been better. He obviously didn't play at Chelsea. 9-pointer against West Brom, 15-pointer against Palace. In that case, his last 2 games actually has got averaging 12 points in the last 2. I think for a last day punt, I don't expect Arsenal Brighton to be high scoring, but he might do well.
Yep.
I think 7.6 is not a bad punt for the final day. It won't be for me, personally. That's where I'd go to, I think, if I was buying Arsenal. Aubameyang, no. Well, could you make a case for that? That go back to the psychology of selling Fernandes and staying in at around that value. Aubameyang final day. No, not for me either. I think it would be Pepe or not at all. But as I said, I'd say the other one I'd maybe punt if it's value money is Kieran Tierney, 5.2. Obviously assisted Pepe's first yesterday. As I said, I think Arsenal might keep a clean sheet on Sunday.
The Liverpool machine keeps rolling on up into the top 4 now. 3-0 yesterday. Fairly comfortable win for them. And then they've got, obviously, Crystal Palace at home on the last day of the season. They win that. They're in the top 4. I think Liverpool are good for it, right?
You would think. I've definitely learnt not to make the straightforward this season. Because if there's any season, it feels like... I feel like we go into these phases where someone's got to win last day to finish top 4. And invariably, they always do. And I think you would expect all 3 teams to win at the weekend. I don't think it's straightforward for Chelsea now that Grealish is back. But I would expect them to win. Liverpool's the one you look at and think, they'll definitely beat Palace, won't they? But what if they don't? They had trouble again with that same ball. Chris Wood should have put Burnley in front. That same ball over the top of Reece Williams, in between him and Robertson. And Chris Wood lost his composure, should have scored. And it's potentially a different game at that stage. Burnley, a little bit like Saturday, Burnley probably didn't deserve not to score in the game. Phillips, shortly after scoring, had cleared one off the line as well. Yeah. So Burnley had some moments. The right team won, don't get me wrong. The FPL managers probably think Salah's frustrating the fucking life out of me. Don't worry, this is the thing that I regularly have with Mo Salah. But let's remember, he's got, 5 in the last 7 or so. He's ticking along nicely. He'll be by far the most captains this game week. We spoke about this on our Sky Fantasy pod yesterday. Perhaps depending on where you are in your mini league, you either use a shield with Salah or you go with a sword with someone else if you want to attack. So I think it depends how you want to finish the season. For me, who owns Salah and not going to sell him, I'm going to captain him personally. I'm sure that's what most people will do. I think unless you're really, really unhappy with your rank and need to chase a mini league rival who you know captaining, for example, I think it's the obvious play. Golden boot, need to win, good fixture. It's obvious, isn't it?
Yep.
And to be honest, even if it was game week 28, it'd still be obvious with the fixtures, I think, this weekend.
I don't mind anyone in that front line of Firmino, Mane, or
I don't mind. I said this last week. I don't mind Firmino as a short-term punt because I feel like we always fall into this stage when we go, shit, FPL price is never value, but the value doesn't matter at this stage of the season. I mean, if you're selling Bruno, whether you're buying Aubameyang or Harrison doesn't make a fucking difference. Buy the player you want, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind Firmino for those who perhaps are really unhappy with a Calvert-Lewin or want to get up like myself from Calvert-Lewin. I can't get straight from Calvert-Lewin to Firmino. I'd rather go Iheanacho anyway. Mane will have disappointed a few. I mean, I know he got an assist yesterday again, but I think people are really hoping for that real kind of haul from him. It's not to mean it won't come.
It's all right when Mane gets an assist. It's annoying when it's Salah who scores the goal because you either own one or the other on the whole, don't you? So
I think Trent's a reasonable captaincy option on Sunday as well. But like the majority of the games recently, I would not be surprised if Palace score.
And last but not least, let's talk about the West Brom at West Ham game. I'm assuming you didn't watch this when you got home from Spurs. Football was done and dusted. And
I didn't really have a lot of interest, but I got home. I didn't even look at the scores, I swear to you, on the way home. I just put some music on, got on the train, rushed home. I left straight after the final whistle. People go, did you wait to see Kane say goodbye? No, I went to get out of that place, go home and see my son.
I get it.
I got home and I got home really quick. It was still I think you was only about 20 minutes gone.
Okay, so it'll be about 1:45.
And I got off the bus and I was walking towards the house. It was the first time I looked at the scores. And I saw Palace was 1-1 and I thought, we might be fucking finishing above Arsenal. At least that's some light relief. They obviously turned it around. And you were losing, I think.
Yeah.
So I spent a bit of time with Harry and I thought, well, I'll put it on. And it was 1-1 by the time I put it on. And I was flicking between you and Liverpool. But I didn't really doubt that you were going to... I guess it got to the point where I thought maybe you won't win. But I was already at the point where I thought, we ain't going to get anything at Leicester, so it doesn't matter anyway.
I think the way I would describe, despite West Brom gave us a good enough battle, and they did cause us a few problems going forward for sure. There's no doubt about it. But there was never a point in the game where I didn't feel like we're the better football team here, and should we want to just turn it up a little bit, we can. I've seen this before with West Ham this season where we still know how to grind out results. And we did in the end. There was even going into the break just 1-1 and we scored late to equalise. I never felt we were going to lose that game. Just didn't. I think the team had the confidence to. You look at it and West Brom could easily have got something out of the game, but Ricey misses the penalty in the first minute. Creswell hit the outside of the post with a really late curling free kick that was pretty tasty. Ben Rama had his shot tipped over the bar. We had enough chances that we could have won even more comfortably. And that final goal when Antonio, you didn't doubt that they were going to score because I just trust them.
I did because I fucking owned them both. And I was watching your game live at the time. Trust them
to make the right decision. A 3-on-1 or 4-on-2 at the end, we're going to score. And I just think the thing is with my team this season that they've given me so much joy, not just because of the results and where we finished in the league. The team spirit is there. The work rate is there. And there's an identity to them. And you see the stuff that comes out on social media afterwards. It's always about it's enjoyable to be part of this squad and this team. Give me a great season no matter what happens on the last day, just because of something to believe in and something to identify with.
Good.
And I saw that again yesterday. Wasn't the greatest performance, but I didn't doubt the effort and I didn't doubt the work rate and I didn't doubt that we'll find a way to get over the line and win a game of football. And we did again. So... West Brom will feel disappointed, I think, that they couldn't take advantage of a little bit of dominance, but they're not good enough as a football team. We're the better team, so eventually that quality tells.
They've got one very good player on this.
And Pereira was the standout on the pitch overall, without a doubt. He definitely did have it. But look, we conceded. Look at the goal we conceded, right? Suchek, stupid own goal to concede. And
FPL gave the goal to Pereira.
It was Pereira's goal.
Because it was going in, wasn't it?
It was on target. I don't know if it was going in because Randolph was behind him.
I guess they've treated it.
Suchek took it away from Randolph. It was on target and therefore...
It's an unusual one because generally they'll say if an effort is on target, I think for them to do that, I had to make the judgment call that he's tried to score from the corner, I think, rather than cross it.
Yeah, it's funny.
I think it's an interesting one.
I think Randolph, if Souček hadn't deflected, Randolph had a chance of saving it. But
if he doesn't head it, Randolph punches it away.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I mean, this is neither here nor there. I just think the number of goals we conceded in recent weeks that are just stupid is getting a bit irritating because we've been so good defensively.
Well, did we say game week 27 was your last clean sheet or something?
Yeah, it's been a while.
But Aaron Cresswell, another attacking return. I'm very interested to see what price he'll be next season. 11 assists, 147 FPL points, which is worth saying is less than Dallas, for example. I'm interested to see what price he'll be because I just don't see FPL particularly pricing a West Ham defender at 6 million.
Nah, it'd be cheap. He hasn't scored a goal all season though.
But 11 assists, mate.
It's decent.
He's providing an attacking return nearly every 3 or so. And if you do sort yourselves out defensively, there might be some investment comes into that area of the squad, I suspect, during the summer. Then could be good things next summer.
Soufal will be cheaper.
I think if he's 5.5 opening day, I'd consider starting with him. I mean, it's all fixture dependent and all that, obviously. But I'd consider maybe starting with him. Whereas now, I wouldn't. I just don't feel you're right defensively, actually. Nah. I feel, okay, he might get me an assist, and it's going to be a 5-pointer or a 6-pointer with a little bit of bonus or something. I don't see it being a real haul at the moment. I'd expect Southampton to score at the weekend as well, I think, Suj.
Yeah, probably.
I would expect you probably to win, but I'd expect them probably to score with the likes of Ings, Adams, etc. They'll have chances, won't they?
Yeah. Well, so the other thing is Antonio being able to cuss out Declan Rice in a post-match interview for missing a penalty as well, I think.
And then Sam Allardyce cussed out Antonio.
Yeah, he did. Well, look, I mean, Allardyce, I don't know. It's a different podcast, Big Sam.
He's definitely, anybody who's been seeing his interviews in the last couple of weeks is definitely, since the relegation was confirmed, he looked like he had an aura of a man who didn't care. I saw lots of accidental David Brent tweets going around last night. I mean, some of his comments were a little bit vain and bizarre, I thought, last night. It was interesting, we had Gemma and Harrison on last week, and Gemma was a little bit undecided about whether she wanted Allardyce to stay or not, because they have got better over the last sort of 8-9 games or so. But I think for their future, they're probably better off going with a new manager, because it was never going to be long-term, was it? It was almost like Allardyce had anger at the end that people keep saying, he only gets jobs to try and help people stay up. Well, yeah, it's the fucking reality, and that's why you got so much money in your bank balance. Don't worry about it, mate.
Correct. There we go, James. That was the games. We're going to do a few Twitter questions as well.
Okay.
But while we do, you need to make 2 public service announcements.
2.
1, what's happening the rest of this week. 2, announce the social as well. And as the social is with our friends at FPL Surgery, I'm going to take Iceman's piss break.
And who got the assist?
Yes, and who got the assist. But Tom Cantwell never pisses during the podcast.
Do you know that fact sheet? Oh my God, you're actually going for a piss. Like, he really is going for a piss. All right, I'll give you a trivia question to keep you going as well. Who's got the most FPL points since the international break? That's from game week 30 onwards. Patreon, as we've announced on previous shows, YouTube and whatnots, there's no charge for our patrons in June or July. So if you want to sign up now, you are charged obviously on a first charge, but you'll get basically 2.5 months for the price of one. You get access to the back catalogue, all the kind of interesting podcasts we've done this season that don't date, like quizzes, stuff on the Super League, etc. That will all be available to you. We will continue to pod during June and July as well, and be updating kind of the content on Patreon as well over the next 24 to 48 hours or so you can have a look. Any questions, send me a DM. More than happy to answer any questions on Patreon. As Suj alluded to as well, we're doing a meet up in London at the Editor's Tap, which is on Fetter Lane. I think Chancery Lane, I want to say, is the nearest tube station, not far from Holborn. It's not far from Thameslink Overground as well, maybe. Centre of London, basically. July 24th, 3 p.m. to I think 11ish, half 11ish or so. Cocktails 2 for 1. No, there's no entry fee. It's just come, turn up, have a drink, bring the FPL community together and have a laugh. The only thing we're going to ask most people, I think, is that they have to sign in via the NHS app on the day. Is that correct, Suj? I believe. Correct. That's good timing. So I'll ask you the trivia question I asked all the listeners. I'll give you one chance to get the right answer. Who's got the most FPL points since the international break? That's from game week 30 to game week 37.
Oh, very good question. Can't be Joe Willock.
Say a name.
Christian Benteke.
Mateus Pereira.
Okay, not bad. I think he's clearly looking like he's a Premier League quality player, so I think someone's going to be looking to buy him.
Another option for the weekend, I think. You want to punt for the final day? I wouldn't. Personally, I think like Leeds could be good things for goals and a clean sheet at the weekend, but not the worst punt for the weekend. Certainly, if you had him, I'd play him in most circumstances, I'd say. That's the announcements done. Unless you had anything you wanted to add to Patreon, but you won't because you don't know what I said anyway.
Did you just tell him it's all free in June and July?
Yes.
Well, that's good enough.
All right, cool.
Indeed. Right. We are going to get into some Twitter questions, James, and then we'll end this podcast. I saw that we had a few that were not FPL related.
Oh, brilliant. Let's do that.
And I want to try and find those first. So the first one came in. Shout out to Stian, one of our patrons who regularly asks good questions. Way to set the bar, gents. So the cue will be, you both get nicked by the coppers after a damp night out with the patrons. We've been drinking, apparently.
It's July the 24th.
It's a female police officer, and I, drunk, call her a bird, and you call her a lass when pleading our case.
Okay.
Who gets locked up and who gets to go home?
Definitely, yeah.
What, get to go home or get locked up? I'd be going home, mate. Trust me, I'm not getting arrested.
Are we taking her with us?
Nah, I'm definitely not getting locked up. However, anybody that's listening to this that makes their way to the social on the 24th of July, find me and say, Suj, tell me the story about the time your mate got arrested in Budapest. That's one. So,
all right, we'll bring a mic.
Yes. No. Anyone that gets it, and probably after about 6 p.m. when
you do know that for the Patreon podcast and Q&A, the first question is going to be, so what happened in Budapest?
Yeah. So let's go to our friend Adam at 35Who, Arsenal correspondent. Which club do you think will benefit most from the return of crowds next season, or do you think the difference will be minimal?
I was so expecting that to be which club do you think will benefit most from qualifying for the UEFA Conference League?
Yeah.
Who will benefit most from the return of crowds? Those with the tight atmosphere and stuff. So I think like Everton is an obvious example. I think at Wolves there might be some benefit as well. Really difficult to say. I would say those in the more modern stadiums, it's less of an advantage, I think. Particularly if Tottenham only want to put us up in the fucking clouds and stuff anyway. By the way, I personally loved my seat yesterday, but I just think we should have had some fans around the lower tiers and stuff. It could badly influence you, actually.
The thing is that next season, as much as we say we need to do better than we did this season, it will be difficult. Replicating what we did this season because other teams are going to get better and it's a more competitive league.
I imagine if I offered you 6th next season right now, you'd take that.
I would take anywhere in the league that has a single digit. Anywhere 9th and above, I would take.
I think better, but I think target 6th now. If you
6th,
can have 3-4 years of sustainability at 6th and 5th, then that's kind of starts what Tottenham started to do in the mid-noughties and stuff.
Alan Holohan. Is there any chance, James? There's a lot of Spurs questions. Is there any chance Leicester having to win could play into Spurs' hands, Son in particular?
Yes, of course there is.
Or is it better to get rid of him for a -4?
Of course there is. It's difficult to foresee how that will play out because I think to get to that stage, Leicester have to go all out for victory, and they're not the sort of team that do that. I think they'll believe in how they set up tactically and play their way. I don't anticipate them leaving themselves open. Rodgers countered the Son-Kane effect really well when the teams played each other at White Hart Lane in December, and I think learnt from the previous game in July where we did them over badly on the counter-attack. But then they had people like Wes Morgan playing that day and stuff, and Ryan Bennett. It's a different personnel. Johnny Evans missing is a blow, but I think the fact that Fofana will play as the central of the three means it's his duty to to be aware of the ball over the top, and his recovery pace is pretty good. I don't think it'll be too much of a problem for him. It is fair to say that I think what you need to be in that position is Chelsea are drawing going into the final 20 minutes, and Leicester are also drawing. And then they know that actually if they do it, they've got a great chance. So, yes, of course, Tottenham could do them on the counter-attack. It's the most likely way that Tottenham are going to do Leicester is on the counter-attack. I doubt it's going to be through domination of play. I fucking know that Højbjerg and whoever plays with him are not going to dominate Ndidi and Tielemans. So, yes, counter-attacking is the way that Tottenham could do them. Do I expect us to? No. But as I said, I don't think I'd remove Son from -4 because it's good enough to score in any game, right?
Of course, yeah. His finishing is world-class. And we'll give the last question of the show, James, which is actually looking for useful advice here. I think that'll be relevant to a number of people.
Wrong podcast.
James Nelson says, if you're top of your mini leagues, and there's a few people that are similar question but chasing their mini leagues like second or third, is it worth a hit to bring in a player that your rivals have to cover but would still leave you with a 20-plus point cushion? Vice versa, is it worth it to try and when the gap's 15 to 20 points, what do people do at this point?
Yeah, you want to cover. You want to leave yourself as few problems as possible, don't you? So, I mean, are you happy to take the -4 and leave yourself a 16-point advantage? I think I'd take that.
Yeah.
Depends what the difference is. I mean, I've gained a bit more on you this week. So was it 50 points between
50
us?
Points. It's never
you need a fucking miracle, don't you? You need
Yeah.
my team to fall apart and all your players to return. Basically.
Antonio to do a Norwich or something and captain him or something.
But the only way you're going to do it is by captaining someone like Antonio. So you could do that. You could think, let's say your opponent's got Salah, and you think, oh, well, I'll get Salah in to block that and I'll captain him. But maybe that person's already thinking that that's what you might do, and already is thinking, well, I'll go Antonio or Kane or Iheanacho or something else instead to go against that. There's a little bit of mind games, isn't it? Generally speaking, I think, yeah, probably cover it.
Yeah, agreed with you on that. Right, there we go. That is it for today. You've got 2 Clash of the Correspondents.
There's no more funny ones.
Nah, it's all boring about winning mini leagues and differential.
Good luck,
punts.
everyone.
We've named all the
Differential
punts
what?
that we could. Differential punts.
Okay, cool.
You know, the Spurs team is your nickname.
I heard that word a lot yesterday. I'm telling you.
We've covered those off in the rundown of the games, James. Tomorrow and on Saturday, you've got Clash of the Correspondents to listen to before the deadline. On Sunday, James will be streaming again. Deadline's 2:30. Deadline's 2:30 because the game's all
1:30 stream.
Yeah, it's a 1:30 stream on Sunday with any lastminute.com questions.
I'm actually going out on the piss Saturday as well because the wife and the little man are leaving me for the day. So I'm actually going out. I ain't been in a pub for 14 months.
Lovely.
So I could be in a fucking state on Sunday.
Nice. Tell me the name of the pub. Actually, just slide it into my DMs. I don't want everyone else turning up there.
I shall tell you. Various.
Nice. And that will be it for the season. We'll be obviously recording next week as well. So make sure wherever you are listening to the podcast, you hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and everything that goes with it. Stay safe, though. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Cue music, please, man child.
Fantasy Football Show.